notebooks. And first thing is everybody says hi, Hugo.
Hi, Hugo.
Hi, Hugo. They're kind of asleep. Sorry. All right. So we're going to talk about appositives. And there's two main things that appositives do. Does anybody remember what the two main things they do? Yes.
They make a they interrupt a sentence.
They interrupt a sentence. They all interrupt a sentence. And there's two ways they can interrupt. One is an added comment, like, that girl, I do believe, and you'd have commas around that, is very nice. Or the dogs, comma, according to my dad, comma, are hungry, period. So you can interrupt with an appositive like that, or with, what's the other way? When you are, I'm going to jump out the window if nobody remembers, yes?
Like in a direct address.
No, you're renaming something. It doesn't have to do with names, but if I say, like, Sarah, comma, the most beautiful girl in the world, comma, answered the question, period. So I'm renaming Sarah the most beautiful girl in the world, so commas go around that. Or Finn, comma, the creator of the world's weirdest sentences, comma, read to us about otter skin, period. Okay? So you can take what's, you could do weasel, otter, or whatever. You take whatever's within the commas out of the sentence, and the sentence will still make sense. Okay? So, here are some reminders. Here, to give more information about a person, place, or thing. This is sentences on your original ones that I gave you. This is the appositive. One of the top dentists in the world. My dentist, one of the top dentists in the world, makes me schedule my appointments 1 year in advance. This table, a quite ancient one.
Oh, quite. I was thinking you said quiet.
It does say quiet, but I meant quite. Oops. Okay. May collapse at any point. I like to go to Florida, comma, the beachiest of the states. Now, why is that one different, the last one, than the other two? Nicholas?
Because it's not in the middle of a sentence.
Correct.
It's at the end.
So they can be at the end or in the middle. They cannot be at the beginning.
So I like to go to Florida. It can be one sentence, but the beaches all stay.
Yeah, I could just end that sentence right there, and it would still make sense.
Great.
I like to go to Florida. Okay. And the other one we were talking about here, an added thought. Mr. Smart, comma, I do believe, comma, has an enormous ego. So this is the appositive, I do believe. Perhaps, comma, as I often suggest, comma, we should find a way to deflate it. So as I often suggest is the appositive there. So this is a reminder that you use them if you use them at the middle of the sentence, you've got to have commas on both sides. I teach at Paideia School, comma, the only school where you hold hands in an assembly first thing in the morning. That's at the end. That was not. That was a couple years ago. We had some like meditation thing. Everybody had to hold hands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you missed that. Luckily.
Is that when you pass on the little sensor thing?
No. I teach the 8th graders, comma, a bunch of wild hooligans. These are at the end of the sentence. The other ones that are in the middle of the sentence are up there. Okay? If it's in the middle of the sentence, where do the commas go?
Before the appositive and after the appositive.
Yes, just like direct address. In a lot of ways, direct address is the same as an appositive. You can take it out of the sentence, and the sentence still makes sense. It's got commas around it. And if it's at the end of a sentence, the appositive, where does the comma go? Before it, right? If it's in the middle, it goes on both sides. If it's at the end, it goes before it. You cannot have an appositive at the beginning of a sentence. All right. Are you with me so far? Because I'm about to introduce one complication.
Yeah.
And remember, this stuff is going to be on the website, too.
Okay,
So it's not like you have to write down. Everything I give you, pretty much, is going to be on theirs. So don't worry about every word. But I am about to introduce a complication, so I need to know if you're ready for this. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's one time, and we talked about this briefly, when commas are not used with appositives. And that's when the appositive answers the question, which one or which ones? Okay? I'm going to give you a sentence here that does not have an appositive. My friend Catherine is nice. Catherine answers the question, which friend? Because I have so many friends, right? That you don't know which one, so you don't use a comma. But I would say my best friend, comma, Catherine, comma, is nice because I only have one best friend. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
If it's answering which one, there are no commas. If you are just giving more information about something, there are commas. My student Porter is failing at life. Porter. Porter answers the question, which student? Because I have lots of students. But I would say the worst student in my class, comma, Porter, comma, is failing at life. Because there's only one worst student in the class, right? Love you, Porter. Okay. My child, Carlos, loves Star Wars. It answers which child because I have two. If I only had one child, what would I do differently? My child, Carlos. You would do what?
Put commas where the apostrophe is.
Thank God Nicholas is with me. You put commas on either side of it because it's renaming my child. There's only one. But since I have more than one child, you do not have commas. I would say my children, comma, Clara and Carlos, comma, are cute.
Wait, but my child Carlos with Star Wars, you don't know that you only have.
It's context. Yeah, I knew that you all knew that.
Well, yeah.
But it's context, and in fact, an exercise we're going to do in a little while, I have to tell you because they didn't give you the context on English Grammar 101. But you'll have to know from the paragraph or from whatever was being talked about. Okay, so when do you not have commas? Everybody, when it what?
It answers the question which one
Which
or
ones?
which ones.
Or which ones. Otherwise, you do have them. So let me give you a sentence, and you tell me whether or not we're going to have commas. Wait, I spelled that wrong. Whoops. Sorry, Hugo. Colleague.
Oh wait, Hugo's. Oh.
Yeah.
He's listening.
Oh, hey, Hugo.
Well, he's not listening now. Now,
Well,
but
yeah, but he's going to be listening to this.
that's why you said hi at the beginning, darling.
From class.
All right. So my colleague Tony won the contest. Am I going to have commas or not? Raise your hand when you know the answer.
No. Oh no.
Raise your hand when you know the answer.
I know it didn't.
Sam?
You do not have commas
Why? You're correct.
because you're talking about Tony and we know that. It's not like you're talking about one person.
No, because I have lots of colleagues. You don't have commas when it answers which one. So there's no commas in this one because it could be my colleague Lacey, my colleague John, my colleague Sydney.
But yeah, you say the name of the person, so
Yeah, but this tells you which colleague. That's why you don't have commas. If I was already talking about Tony and I said, and then I referred to him, I would have commas because you already know who I'm talking about. It doesn't answer which one. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do another one. Ignore this for a second.
whoa, cool.
That was mad.
Okay. So. Okay, so if I have several roommates, does this get commas or no commas?
No comma.
No commas.
Why?
Because
Because
you
it's
said
one.
And it's
Which
only
roommate?
one.
If I have one roommate,
There is commas.
there are commas
We already know.
because it is renaming my roommate. It's giving you extra information that you don't need. Think about it that way. If it's answering which one or which ones, it's giving you information you must have to understand.
Oh, so if you only have one roommate, you can pretty much take out what's in the middle of the commas. So
And
my
you'd
roommate
still-
moved
exactly.
out, and it's still.
But if I have lots of roommates, you wouldn't know who moved out, right?
Cool.
Okay.
Henry.
Okay.
That's so
So,
sad.
I only have one goldfish. Commas or no commas? Raise your hand when you know. Don't say anything. Raise your hand when you know. Finn, commas or no commas? I only have one.
No comments.
Nope, I only have one.
Right.
So it's not telling you which one because I only have one. So we've got to have commas. If you know I have multiple goldfish, then there are no commas because it's telling you which one. Think about it this way. If I have multiple goldfish and I said my goldfish was flushed, you don't know which goldfish was flushed, right? But if you happen to know that I only have one goldfish and his name is Henry and I say my goldfish was flushed, then you don't need this information, Henry, to make sense of the sentence. You know who was flushed. Okay? All right.
Well, not when like people are around.
So, my favorite dessert, ice cream, is good for me. Commas or no commas? Raise your hand when you know.
Oh, yeah.
Porter.
Commas.
Commas. Why?
Because you don't have any favorite.
You can only have one favorite dessert, right?
Unless you're one of those
Well,
little kids.
I
that
Okay. Most of the time you can. So, what I've answered here is that when you do have commas and when you don't with an appositive. Most of the time with an appositive you have commas, except for one what?
It answers the question.
Which one or which ones? Okay? Let's put Hugo out of his misery. Man.
Bye, Hugo.
Uh,
Bye.